Hello, Daryl Presley here. We're going to talk about permutations today. Permutations. Okay, so that's basically how many ways can we do things. Okay, so let's look at a problem type. There are 30 students in a homeroom. How many different ways can they be chosen to be elected president, vice president, or treasurer and treasurer? So there's 30 people in a homeroom, 30 kids. Let's just say kids. And So the way it used to be, at least back in my day, we would say, okay, how many? Let's get some nominations for president, and everybody nominate a president, and then you might have like four choices, let's say, and they'd say, okay, raise your hand if you're for candidate one, raise your hand if you're candidate two for candidate two, and they take the votes, and the president would be elected. Well, the president back when I was a kid would actually step out of the room. At least at Maysville Elementary many years ago that person, he or she would step outside, and now you only have 29 people in the room, and you do it all over again for vice president. So if you start thinking about that in a common sense way, there are three choices, not choices, three offices: the president, the vice president, and the treasurer. Now, if you do president first, like we're talking about, there are 30 people to choose from. But once you've chosen a president, the person can't also be a vice president or can't also be a treasurer. So they step out of the room. All of a sudden, you only have 29 people. You choose a vice president. That person goes out of the room. Those two people now are out of the room. We're down to 28 people for treasurer. Why do we stop? Because there's no more offices. The other 27 people, they're just not going to be in the office. Boo. All right. And so really what I'm looking at then is a very simple math problem. I'm multiplying to see how many different ways I could do this. So if I multiply 30 times 29 times 28, I get a giant number, 24,360 different ways. You wouldn't think that out of a room of 30 people that you could come up with that many possibilities, but it really is the case. You think about president, there's 30 different choices for president, followed by 29 different choices for vice president. And if you try to draw a little thing like this, you just go out, you'd be going crazy trying to draw a tree diagram. So the quicker way for a permutation is just to multiply. And so we would type that without the decimal, 24360, and hit submit answer. All right, now I have one more problem for you, and that is sometimes they read a little bit different. So let's read this one. Four students, Kaylee, Xavier, Ruby, and Brandon, line up, but one behind the other. How many different ways can they stand in line? Now, this is the last one we had 30 people, but remember 27 of those didn't get an office. They just left out. This time, though, all four, and that's why it says the word whole here, all four people are included. We're going to end up with everybody having a spot. Well, if we say this is the front of the line, so let's not call it anything. Let's just say front of the line. There are four people, Kaylee, Xavier, Ruben, and Brandon. All right, so no matter, we got four people to choose from. So you remember in middle preschool, they used to say, I want to be line leader. Let me be line leader. I didn't. I always like being in the back, get away with more in the back. But anyway, somebody want to be line leader. Well, of those four choices, somebody is chosen. That leaves me with only three choices for second place. You also might think of batting orders or anything where you have to put things in order. All right, so three. All right, one of those is chosen. Now I've only got two people that can be in this next to last spot. We pick one. Well, poor old Daryl, he gets chosen last, or maybe he worked it out that way. There's only one choice, that one leftover person. So like you might say, let's say Ruby gets chosen for line leader. This leaves these three people, see the three. Maybe Xavier gets chosen to be in the second spot. That leaves two people, Kaylee and Brandon. I don't know, maybe Brandon gets chosen next. Boom, that leaves Kaylee having to be the only last spot, one. So I just want you to see that's one possibility. So you say, well, how many possibilities are there, Mr. Presley? Oh, I'm so glad you asked. And so we go to our handy dandy notebook, no, our handy dandy calculator, and we multiply, and I believe you get 24 here. 12 times 2 is 24, times 1 is 24. There's 24 different ways to line these people up. And if you thought about you were doing this every weekday, you could go through like over a month and have a different order every day. That's pretty cool. All right, so we would just type 24 and hit submit. So there's 24 different ways of doing that. Now that's good, right? This one was a lot larger. Why was this one a lot larger? Bigger numbers of people. And that really is what it comes down to. 30 people versus 4 people. Not as much to have to arrange for 4 people. All right, it's kind of like if you were coloring in a coloring book and you only had 4 crayons, not a lot of choices if you had 30 crayons. All right, well, I hope you have a good day. That's it for today. And I guess if you have questions, you should be letting me know through email or through my Google Meet. Y'all take care. Blue Pride. Blue Pride.